Okay, hey, all right. I wanted to do this video for the group while I'm in here making this dish, and I wanted to talk about when I first became vegetarian because there are a lot of you that are on the journey, or you are kind of on the fence and you haven't made the decision yet to become vegetarian or vegan, and you know it's the healthy way of eating, but it's just so hard to give up certain dishes, right? Certain meat and different things. I know I've been there. And so I wanted to make this video especially for you and to encourage those who have started to keep going. It gets easier and easier, trust me. So I've been a vegetarian slash vegan and now slash rawtarian for over 2 years. And rawtarian, I just started that. It's been about a few months, and I'll tell you how I started that. So anyway, my journey began, first of all, I made the decision. And the decision has to be a heartfelt decision, not because what somebody else said, not because something that a lot of people are doing. It can't be any reason but that it's something that you want to do for your health, for your family, for yourself, and then for your family. So first of all, it has to come from your heart. It has to come from within. That's the only way that you're going to stick with it. All right. So you have to make a heartfelt decision. That's the first thing. And then once you make the decision, you start to do your research and start learning about food. Food is medicine, and food is also information, because it communicates with your DNA, your cells, and all of that. I won't go into all that, but know that it is communication, because everything in the earth is inside of us as well. So it's communication as well, and it's medicine for your body. So know those two things and start your research as to what foods is good for you, and start to be in tune with your body. And it's an ongoing process. Okay, so that's that one. And then once you learn that, and learn that we are electrical beings as well, so you want to eat living electrical food. So no matter what you're doing, your food, incorporate food that is live. I'll put it that way. Food that is live, which is going to be raw food. Now, when you're on your journey, be patient with yourself. Start out with eliminating one meat at a time. That's the way I did it. And so what I did was I would make our favorite food, and have the support. It always helps to have the support of, if you have a spouse and you're married, to have the support of your spouse. And if you're not married and your children are still in the home with you, to have the support of your children. And I had the support of my children, and my sons were the last two home with me, and we did it together. And so what I would do was I would make our favorite dishes. And then one week would be one day out of a week would be no meat. And that's how we did it. And so the one day out of the week was no meat. And I would just make all of our favorite dishes. And then the second week, it would be 2 days with no meat. Like that. And I would be making our favorite dishes. And, they really expressed appreciation for that. The fact that I would make our favorite dishes, knowing that we were transitioning to not eating meat anymore. And also, and then week 3, same thing. It would be 3 days with no meat, all the way until we were able to make it through a whole week with no meat. And then also I started to look into alternatives. There's things on the market that help you as well, that you can replace with meat, and it's so good, and it's just like meat. One of them is called Beyond Beef. That one you can use, and that is a plant-based protein that looks like ground beef, but it's plant-based. It's made from pea protein, so it's healthy, it's organic, and it will help you make the transition as well. And you can do the same thing with it that you do with ground beef. And then you have Beyond Chicken, which is plant-based as well. So you do have the alternatives out there as well. I'm not big on tofu and soy. Do your research. So anyway, that will help you out as well. So that's what I did. And as far as transitioning to organic, I started with the condiments first. Start with your condiments first, because that's where you're going to find most of the things in there that you can't pronounce that are not good for you. It's going to be in your condiments, your ketchup, your mustard, syrup, jelly, things like that, peanut butter, mayonnaise, things like that. And there are alternatives to those as well. So you don't have to really give up anything to be more healthy. And it doesn't have to be so expensive, because did you know that we don't have to eat all of these different foods? You really don't have to have all this variety. It's nice, but you don't have to have all these variety of foods. And some of this food they're purporting to be healthy, but you should be eating in moderation, even though it's leafy, like spinach. Spinach has a lot of starch in it now. So you don't want to be loading up on spinach a lot. Eat it in moderation. Asparagus is another one. Eat that in moderation. So asparagus is a good diuretic. Okay, so if you're having some issues with that, then you may not want to eat a lot of asparagus. Okay, so you want to look at different things like that. Do your research on food, okay, and know what you can eat until the body becomes accustomed to eating this healthy way, and you'll feel it, because you'll feel more vibrant. You'll have more energy. You won't have the brain fog anymore, and it's just overall healthy. And what happened was, as far as like the raw food, and so what happened was my doctor diagnosed me with diabetes, and I didn't accept that. And I said, no, I don't have diabetes. And so I went on a 21-day cleanse where I ate nothing but raw. And a lot of the food was pretty bland. I didn't eat a lot of salt. And when I use salt, I use pink Himalayan salt or black salt. And so I would just use a little bit of that. And I got totally off sugar. I would use stevia. Xylitol is good in moderation. You can experiment with that and do your research on that. And then I learned about cinnamon and date sugar and dates. And it didn't spike my sugar at all. And I learned that it's actually healthy if you do have diabetes. And so I checked my sugar, and my sugar was always under 120. And so you want to look into other sugar alternatives. Coconut sugar is another one. Coconut flour, flax seed flour. So you don't have to use the wheat flour and gluten. Also, spelt flour, and I eat spelt wraps. And spelt is a plant. So do your research on that as well. So I will be sharing more with the group. Very busy, but I do want to get active in the group and share with you my journey and things that I've learned. And also you want to learn the combination of foods. Certain foods you shouldn't eat with other foods. You can cause yourself some problems. So you want to learn about that. And I'm still learning that myself. So I wanted to share this with you. And the dish that I'm making this evening is delicious. This was a recipe that I had gotten off of YouTube. YouTube has been my buddy for recipes, especially when I went raw, because I just didn't know what to eat. And there's a lot of, most of our vegetables we can eat raw. So you can eat it steamed, cooked, or raw, which is awesome. So Mother Earth has given us a variety. We don't need to eat her land animals. And there's so much that she's given us that we can eat. And there's still so much that they are discovering that we can eat as well. So we don't have to eat the land animals. Okay. For some of you, fish is going to be your probably the last thing that you'll give up, which is okay. You know, fish is, some people say it is meat. It is a last, I don't know what category it will fall in, but um, don't beat yourself up if you still eat fish. It's okay. It's okay. Just in moderation because of the mercury, and make sure you know where it's coming from. If it's farm raised, if it's wild caught, things like that. And if you do, make sure that it has scales. And I would say salmon and tuna, sardines are pretty healthy to eat if you still want to eat that. And make sure you get, everything has proteins. So don't worry about protein. If you do, hemp is what I use. I eat hemp seeds, and I put hemp powder in my smoothies or my nutritious drinks. I juice. So, and I know that could be a lot of work, but I make jars of it, 48 jars. So I save my jars so that I will have glasses, and especially those large jars of just whatever you buy, like honey, the big jars of honey. I save those because they're pretty good at 48 ounces. Those type jars are good for storing your juices. I'll give you a juice recipe later that I use for those of you who may have issues with diabetes. There is a juice that is, I believe, that works and is healthy for diabetes. There are several, so but this is my favorite one, and I'll share that with you at another time. So anyway, I want to show you this dish that I'm making. And I got this dish from YouTube, and I kind of tweaked it. You can, one thing about vegetables is you can play with them, and you can tweak them for whatever your taste is. And nowadays they have spelt pasta that you can use, gluten-free pasta that you can use, so you don't have to run from pasta anymore as a vegan or a vegetarian. So, but this soup is, let me see if I know how to turn this camera around. Let's see if I know how to turn it around. Let's see, do I know how to turn this around? I may not know. I'm not as savvy. So I'll just turn my phone around. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to turn it around. Sorry, my finger's all in the way. But this is a dish that I made, and as you can see, it's a lot of different vegetables. But this soup is so delicious. It's so good. It is so good. So that I hope you was able to see that. Let's see. Were you able to see that? Yeah. So that soup is perfect for this chilly weather that we're having. However, that soup has zucchini, squash, green beans. I sliced some tomatoes in it this time, just playing around with it. Normally I don't do that, but I did this time just to see. And I usually put coyote squash in there. I didn't have my squash this time. Coyote squash for me replaces potatoes. So anything that you would cook with potatoes, replace it with coyote squash and see how you like it. It's just like potatoes in my opinion. What else is in there? Green beans. I had a little bit of eggplant in there, onions, mushrooms, red onions, mushrooms, and red pepper and yellow pepper. So that's what's in there. And then the spelt pasta. So that's what's in there this time. And like I said, usually I put the coyote squash in there, and it's very filling, very filling. And then, of course, the spices, seasonings in there, a little bit of sage, a little bit of thyme. And I just measure things with the palm of my hands. I got that from my girl on her cooking show. I can't think of her name. You guys know. She come on at 11 with her cooking show. So I just measure things with the palm of my hands. And so thyme, put a little bit of sage, not curry, the yellow stuff everybody's talking about. A little bit of black salt, black sesame seed, and onion powder, cumin, and then I have fresh cilantro in there. And I think that's it. A little bit of pepper and a little bit of cayenne. So, and sweet basil, and then bay leaves as a seasoning as well. And then you just don't eat those, you take those out. All right. So anyway, enjoy. If you decide to make this soup, let me know how you like it. And I'll talk to you guys soon.